So we're lucky enough to have a spotlight on Prostate Cancer UK. So Shanice has been kind enough to share some of her journey with the Charity Mentoring Network this morning. Hi Shanice, how you doing? Good, good. Well, I've got your slides on this deck here, so I'm happy to move them on for you if you're ready to start.
Yeah, absolutely ready to start. Thank you so much. I'll let you know when to change the slides.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for inviting me. And it's a pleasure to be here to take you through our experience of launching the Charity Mentoring Network at Prostate Cancer UK. We are about, I'd say, a year in to our journey, so still very fresh. We're not experts, but I'm very happy to share with you what we've learned so far and kind of how we approached it. Next slide. So where we're at right now is we have 43 users on the platform, and that includes 38 of our colleagues. We're an organisation of 260, so you can do the percentages there. So obviously still a work in progress for us to kind of build that over time, but we are happy with the progress that we've made. We've got 5 volunteers on the platform, so I'll talk a little bit about that in the moment, but we did launch it as a dual opportunity for both colleagues and volunteers, and there was a specific reason that we did that. And we have 8 people in active relationships who are either booking meetings or who have connected with a mentor and are due to book a meeting. Next slide. So I'm going to take you through the 3 stages of our launch, which is, of course, what we did before we launched, what we did while we launched, and now what we're doing after we've launched. So I think this one feels a bit basic and obvious, but a really key thing is it is a new system. And if you are familiar with the Charity Learning Consortium's learning management system, the Charity Mentoring Network is really quite different. Obviously, it's with Pushfar. So it's really quite a different system. It is intuitive, but because it's different, there are lots of moving parts. You've got the admin login, and then you've got the actual mentoring site. You do have to familiarize yourself with both of those. So doing that well before launch, we found really helpful, because it meant that when we launched, we just knew where to put people and how to move things around if we needed to. For our organisation, and this is probably the case for lots of charities, we're really quite time poor. So although, on the surface, a mentoring scheme is an amazing thing for a charity to have, and you'd assume maybe uptake would be really high, actually it was really important for us to secure buy-in from key stakeholders beforehand, to make sure that people kind of were on board and that managers were releasing their colleagues, enabling them to have the time to actually take part, and also making sure that, for example, because we're an internal staff team and we did want to launch the Charity Mentoring Network to volunteers, we don't actually have a direct line of communication to volunteers. So it's really important that we were having those meaningful conversations with volunteer managers beforehand, so that when we launched internally, also volunteers got a really good comms package and got a really good launch experience as well. But yeah, communicating with our leadership team and really starting at the top, explaining to them why we felt this scheme was important, how it linked into, results that we had from our staff survey around people wanting more L&D opportunities, how we felt it linked into our business drivers around developing a high-performing organisation. All of that was really important to ensuring that it landed well once we launched it. A key thing was speaking to we spoke to heads of department specifically, and then we also spoke to line managers, because they're key enablers in terms of kind of releasing people, letting them have the time and space to be able to commit to this. So they were really key to speak to beforehand. And then also just putting together an internal comms plan so that we knew we were tackling all of the different channels. So we made sure we had a slot in our weekly staff internal comms meeting, which has an audience of around 150 colleagues every week. So that was really key. We made sure we put up a blog about it that linked to external resources, so people could watch videos, they could read about it, they could scroll through the website. And we also sent an all-colleague email as well. So we attacked it from multiple different prongs, so as many people as possible had the information that they needed. Next slide, please. So when we launched, as I said, it was really important that we launched on multiple mediums. Obviously, as L&D professionals, we understand that different people like to receive information in different ways. But also the key reason for that is that oftentimes, for example, you'll send an all colleague email out and then you'll reassure yourself that, oh, well, everyone must know about this thing now. And the reality is that actually some people will have opened that email and kind of glanced through it and been like, oh, discard. Some people might have thought it was spam. And actually only a percentage of the people that you send that all colleague email out are actually reading it, engaging with it, and then taking action from it. So we use multiple different mediums to kind of maximize how many people took action. So email, blogs, we did demos. So we did all colleague opportunities for half an hour to come and have a look at the system, and we'll take you through it and how it works and how to sign up. So we had a lot of people coming to those. And I've also been to team meetings to talk people through our L&D opportunities. So actually the last one I did was yesterday. I was at the fundraising directorate talking through, what opportunities we have, how to sign up to the Charity Mentoring Network. And you'll be surprised that even a year in, how many people still didn't know, A, that this opportunity was available, and B, how to sign up to it. So actually your launch is never really just the one moment thing. It's ongoing, and you've got to keep plugging and keep pushing. One thing that we found that's been really helpful is plugging the Charity Mentoring Network through our existing processes. So, for example, our appraisal process, and that that's a key moment in the year where people are having developmental conversations already. So, plugging this as part of that is kind of like an easy win for us. On top of that, it was really important that it wasn't just learning and development colleagues that were pushing this into the organisation, and that it wasn't just junior colleagues that were saying sign up, but actually that our director that was championing the project, and that also the leadership team were publicly championing it as well. So it's one thing to have them bought in, it's another thing to have them as active champions for the project. So asking them, for example, to mention it in updates, to co-sign it, so for example, at the meeting that I was at yesterday with the fundraising directorate, the fundraising director then, after I spoke and said, I co-sign all of this, sign up to these things. So that active support, not just passive buy-in, is really important. And then also we have dedicated support within our team, so that if people need support or need to contact someone about the Charity Mentoring Network, they have a directed person that they can go to, and it just really simplifies the queries and the comms around it. Next slide, please. And then finally, so now we're in the post-launch period. And I would say, I've kind of alluded to this already, be prepared for your launch to not be just a one-time event, and that actually you're going to have to find lots of ways to repeat your messaging in different ways over time. And actually, you can utilize the Charity Mentoring Network's resources around this. So, for example, when they release resources around how many people are using the system and how many different charities are signed up, when those get updated, that's a real, that's a flashpoint, a reminder for you to update the organization as well, because that gives you an opportunity to give them an extra reminder that, hey, there's this scheme, you can sign up. And stay on top of use and be proactive with supporting people as well. So using the admin function to kind of just every now and then, whether it's kind of once a month or twice a month, just logging in, having a look to see who's using the platform, are people kind of agreeing mentors and then not signing up for a meeting. If that's happening, maybe you could just drop them a message saying, do you need any support? What's going on? If you see that, so we've noticed when I've logged into the admin system that there are people who are really struggling. So maybe they've sent out a couple of mentor requests as well. So that's the sort of thing that through the admin function, you can identify and kind of be proactive with reaching out to people and supporting them. But also staying on top of the admin has meant that we've been able to capture case studies. So, for example, going on the admin site, I was able to see that one person had already had like 5 meetings with their mentor. So because I spotted that, I was able to then contact that person. I interviewed them about their experience on the platform. Haven't released that interview yet. We're editing it. We're going to put it together. But that was just a really great opportunity that we identified to get someone who's actually using it and benefiting from it to speak positively about it. And we're going to be using that as organizational comms to encourage other people to get signed up as well. But the admin function is really good because it just provides you with really clear data as well. And again, you can be using that data to kind of, again, just re-establish that buy-in with the leadership team and heads of department. This month, we've had this many people on the platform. This month, we've had this many meetings. And just keeping the conversation going is really, really important. Particularly in a time-poor organization, people will have real strong intentions to get themselves on the platform, and then they'll forget. So you have to just keep reminding them and keep repeating the messaging. Next slide. So our lessons from the year is patience. People are really excited by the opportunity, but there are 1,000,001 reasons why in a charity that people might be excited, but that doesn't translate to them immediately signing up. Don't be disheartened by that. I've been in meetings here where people have said that that's their experience. That's been our experience. I think it's just something you have to build dedicated over time. And I've said repetition, but in line with the theme of repetition, I'm going to repeat repetition, repeating your messaging over and over again, and making sure that people have regular flashpoints where they can engage and get signed up is really important. And we've also found it helpful to anchor the charity mentoring network in our existing processes. So again, appraisals is a really good flashpoint. Encouraging managers to talk about it in their regular one-to-ones is a really important flashpoint. And using our existing organizational internal comms processes, so blogs, our internal comms meeting, those are really important as well. So yeah, that's been our experience. As I said, it's a journey and it's in progress, but we have had really positive use cases from it, and we hope to build those over in the future. So yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much, Shanice, for that. Hopefully that's been useful for everyone. And if anyone does have a question for Shanice or any kind of follow-up, please do raise your hand, either physically or virtually. But I think your messages there were really powerful. You know, sort of just throwing rhetorical questions to everyone else in the room. Have you got SLT buy-in? Have you thought about doing team meetings and demos? Have you plugged into your appraisals? You know, are your directors championing this process? I think you know what you've shared can be useful for everyone, and I'm particularly excited to hear more about the interview that you've created, and if there's any way that we can kind of support in promoting that as well. Shanice, we can have a chat about that if you like as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very, very much for sharing. Great stuff. Okay, so I don't think there are any questions unless I've missed some in the chat box. Ah, hi Martin.
Hiya. Just a quickie, Shanice, I thought it was a really brilliant talk through what you've achieved. I mean, one question I have is if you were to do it again, what would you do differently and why?
It would really be repeating the messaging earlier, and just our comms plan that we put in before launch took us all the way up until launch and didn't take us beyond launch. And actually, I think that was a mistake because there was an immediate sign up and then it kind of lulled a bit, and we had to get back on the communications and find new ways to kind of talk people through the opportunities. So actually, if I were to do it again, I'd just plan that all in advance. Say at this touch point in 3 months time, we're going to mention it again. This point in the year, we're going to mention it again. The appraisals, we're going to mention it again, and just have those regular touch points.
Great. Thank you.
All about momentum then. Thank
Exactly.
you.
Yeah.
Wonderful stuff.